Oftentimes, loneliness seems like a heavy burden to bear. When the nights grow long and the days feel empty, you may ask yourself, why am I alone? What am I doing wrong? But what if, instead of a curse, this loneliness were actually a sign of something much greater? What if, despite the pain it brings, it is the key to a divine purpose that only you can fulfill? The chosen ones, those called to extraordinary missions, often face this solitude. It is a difficult path, one that few can truly understand. Yet, when lived well, solitude can be the fertile ground where a great life's purpose is born. It can teach us the true essence of our journey and how it connects to the cosmos. Solitude, then, is more than an absence of company. It is a state of consciousness that opens doors for transformation. And by embracing it, we begin to find the deeper meaning behind the experiences we go through. Being one of the chosen does not mean being above others, but being selected for a journey of transformation that requires courage and dedication. Sometimes, this journey is accompanied by loneliness, but that is not a sign of failure. On the contrary, it is a sign that you are being prepared for something greater. Throughout history, great spiritual leaders and visionaries, such as Moses, Jesus, and Gandhi, endured periods of solitude that were essential to the growth of their missions. They understood that in solitude, they were connecting with something greater, and it was in that silence that they were preparing to fulfill their destinies. Solitude, therefore, is the forge of the spirit and the foundation for the construction of a great mission. It is not abandonment, but a necessary process for those who are destined to lead. It is in the stillness that clarity arises to understand the path ahead. Perhaps you also feel this loneliness. Perhaps, when you look at your own path, you wonder why you feel disconnected or isolated. But fear not. This is the moment you are called to grow, reflect, and align with your true purpose. The solitude of the chosen is not a phase of abandonment, but a phase of preparation, a divine calling for something grand that is to come. And, by understanding this, you will begin to see loneliness in a new light, as a hidden blessing preparing you for a great and transformative destiny. Solitude, then, is an invitation to deep introspection. It is the soil where the seeds of wisdom and vision can sprout. When you connect with this process, you will find the path you must walk. Loneliness is often seen as a heavy burden, but for the chosen, it carries a profound and transformative meaning. For those called to a greater purpose, being alone is not a sign of failure, but an opportunity to connect with something higher. When you feel this solitude, it may be that you are being prepared for something much greater. Do not be deceived, not everyone is called, and those who are, often face moments of isolation to strengthen them. Solitude, then, serves as a space for reflection and deep understanding of one's destiny. Isolation provides the clarity necessary to discern what truly matters. And when we look more broadly, we can realize that solitude is, in fact, a divine gift in disguise. It is important to understand that solitude should not be seen as a punishment but as a gift. It is in this isolation that you have the chance to dive deep into your soul, reflect on your actions, and discern the purpose you have been called to. Many great spiritual leaders and historical figures, such as Moses and Jesus, experienced this solitude before embracing their missions. In their journeys of introspection, they were able to hear the divine voice, understand their purpose, and prepare for what was to come. Therefore, the solitude of the chosen is, at its core, a preparatory phase for the accomplishment of something grand. Solitude offers an opportunity to connect with higher wisdom. It allows a person, free from external distractions, to hear the voice of the Spirit and understand the true meaning of life. Although it is hard to understand why one feels alone in times of need, it is in this isolation that faith is tested and strengthened. When in solitude, you are forced to look inside yourself, free from external distractions, and ask difficult questions about who you are and what your true purpose is. This is a vital spiritual process for those called to fulfill a divine mission. Throughout history, figures like Gandhi also taught us that it is in solitude that great changes are forged. His isolation was essential for his awakening and, consequently, for the transformation he brought to the world. Solitude drove him to act differently, shaping his character and vision of the world. This internal transformation is reflected in external actions that challenge the established order and bring about change. So, when facing moments of loneliness, do not think that something is wrong. On the contrary, you are in a period of preparation. The solitude of the chosen is a hidden blessing, a temporary phase that will strengthen you. During this period, it is essential to learn to find strength within yourself and trust that, in the end, you will be able to fulfill the divine purpose for which you have been called. Even if the path is difficult, remember that, as written in Psalm 46 verse 10, "Be still, and know that I am God." This is the moment for a deep connection with the divine and for understanding that solitude indeed has a greater purpose. Solitude is a school that teaches us to trust the unseen and to strengthen our faith. When understood in this way, the fear of solitude disappears, making way for serenity and trust. It then becomes a silent friend that guides us toward our true mission. Being one of the chosen is a unique and challenging experience. When someone is called to a divine purpose, this mission goes far beyond personal interests or immediate desires. To be chosen is to have the responsibility of carrying a vision greater than life itself, something that transcends common understanding. For many, this can be unsettling, even frightening, as it means their journey will be marked by challenges that are hard to explain to others. But it is precisely this calling that defines purpose, and solitude often accompanies this process. You feel that you are being prepared for something greater, and that, in itself, can be a blessing, although difficult to understand at first. The journey of the chosen does not follow normal patterns. It is made of uncertain steps, but with the certainty that the mission is unique and essential. It is a walk of faith that requires patience and trust. For example, Moses, when called to free the people of Israel, experienced the feeling of being chosen for something extraordinary. He not only faced solitude but also had to endure the misunderstanding of others. What he went through was a divine mission that challenged not only his own courage but also the faith of the people he led. This is what it means to be one of the chosen. It is to commit to something greater, without knowing exactly how it will unfold. Being chosen does not mean ease, but being willing to carry the weight of a mission that goes beyond yourself. And in this process, solitude becomes a key part of the preparation. Moses not only freed the people of Israel but freed himself, through solitude, from doubt and insecurity. His internal transformation reflected in external actions that changed the destiny of an entire nation. In a way, the feeling of being one of the chosen is like a seed planted in fertile soil, but it must undergo a solitary growth process before it can bloom. It is in solitude that the call is truly discerned. Think of figures like Jesus, who, during his public life and before his crucifixion, faced moments of utter solitude, even while surrounded by crowds. This shows that, even being one of the chosen, it is necessary to go through periods of introspection and preparation. Solitude helps shape the person for the greatness of the destiny that awaits them. Jesus, in his solitude, also faced temptations and disillusionments that are part of the journey. This preparatory time was essential for his inner strength and for the clarity of his divine mission. When called to such a significant mission, the chosen one is also invited to leave behind many social conventions and expectations. They cannot follow the flow of the majority because their path is different and requires total devotion. Often, they must follow a direction that few understand. But just like Gandhi, who faced solitude in search of a higher purpose, the solitude of the chosen is a transformative force. It is in the quietness of this process that the answers emerge. Great achievements are often preceded by moments of solitude. If you are being prepared for something greater, know that this period of introspection is a crucial part of your growth process. The solitude of the chosen, therefore, must be understood as a fundamental step in fulfilling a divine mission. It is not a burden to bear, but a preparation for a higher calling. This solitude offers the opportunity to connect with something much greater than ourselves. And by understanding it in this way, you will find the strength to move forward and fulfill your destiny. There is no shame in the solitude of the chosen. On the contrary, it is a hidden blessing, a phase that, although difficult, prepares the heart and soul for something grand and divine. Loneliness often awakens feelings of helplessness and uncertainty. However, it is in this inner silence that the true strength of the human spirit is revealed. Those who are called to great missions often find themselves solitary because the path we walk as individuals is not the same as the crowds. Therefore, being alone is not a sign of inadequacy, but a necessary condition for the expansion of consciousness. Isolation allows you to distance yourself from external influences and, thus, listen to your inner voice more clearly. Only when we step away from the noise of the world can we truly perceive the magnitude of the purpose that awaits us. Loneliness, therefore, connects us with the essential, leaving behind the distractions and superficiality of daily life. The great spiritual masters, in their journeys, showed that loneliness is often the prelude to moments of illumination. In silence, the soul finds space to expand and connect with the divine. Jesus, in his solitary journey in the desert, resisted temptations that could have diverted him from his greater purpose. Just like him, the chosen must learn to distinguish between the distractions of the ego and the true voice of the soul. During these periods of isolation, profound insights arise that will guide the path to follow. It is in solitude that we often discover the true meaning of sacrifice and devotion. By not succumbing to despair, loneliness transforms into a state of grace, preparing us for the divine mission that has been destined for us. The loneliness of the chosen is not a passive condition, but an active process of transformation. It demands from each of us a commitment to inner truth and to wisdom that transcends rational understanding. During these periods, we may be confronted with our own weaknesses and fears, but it is these moments that shape us and prepare us for the great calling. Just as gold needs to be refined in fire to become pure, the chosen must pass through the fire of solitude to emerge stronger and wiser. It is not a struggle against loneliness, but an acceptance of its necessity for our growth. When we learn to integrate solitude into our lives, it ceases to be a painful condition and becomes a tool for evolution. In many cultures and spiritual traditions, loneliness is seen as a form of purification. The withdrawal from the material world and social relationships creates a space conducive to meeting the sacred. This process of purification is not easy, as it forces us to confront our own shadows and limitations. But it is through this confrontation that the soul finds its true strength. The chosen, by submitting to this process, become more sensitive to the divine energy that flows through their lives. They begin to notice signs and guidance that were previously unnoticed. This state of vigilance and connection allows them to fulfill their mission with a sense of clarity and unwavering purpose. By accepting solitude as part of the process, the chosen become more resilient. It is not just about facing isolation, but understanding that it is a transformative element that allows the spirit's ascent. Through solitude, we are forced to find strength within ourselves, without depending on external validation or support. This process is essential for the development of an authentic and transcendental mission. Those called to great deeds often experience this solitude as a preparation to face challenges that require an unshakable trust in the divine. It is in solitude that the true seeds of inner power are planted, and the spirit begins to grow toward its true mission. The journey of the chosen, therefore, is marked by a series of trials that, though painful, are fundamental for the development of the wisdom and strength necessary to fulfill a greater purpose. Looking at history, we see that those who brought about deep changes in humanity went through periods of extreme solitude, in which they had to face not only external adversities but also internal conflicts. It is in these moments that faith is truly tested. The loneliness of the chosen, far from being an obstacle, is the ground where great visions emerge. By connecting with their deepest essence, the chosen are able to bring forth the wisdom the world needs, even when no one else understands what they are going through.